Stoke 0-2 Manchester City. David Silva strikes twice as Pep Guardiola's men go 16 points clear at the top and move to within 2 wins of Premier League title. So now Manchester City know exactly how close they are. 2 more wins and they will be Premier League champions. First they go to Everton and then they play Manchester United at home. So City could seal the title with their neighbours in attendance. Pep Guardiola could lift the trophy while Jose Mourinho watches. Even by the dramatic standards of English football, that would be quite something. Watching City at Stoke, it was hard not to think that is exactly how this will work out. At the moment it is just too much of a stretch to imagine City losing. Nights like this are supposed to be difficult. Stoke City have long since been tricky opponents at home, especially when their supporters get going as they did on Tuesday night. But here City made their night's work look incredibly straightforward. They scored 2 goals, David Silva scoring early in each half, but there were at least half a dozen other good chances. So 2 could have been 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, or whatever. Had they really needed to score more then they surely would have done. It is rare to see a team exhibit such control in a Premier League game. This is a league that prides itself on its competitiveness, but at times this season City have changed that outlook a little. Ahead of their game at Everton on March 31st, the home team are currently in the region of 121 to win. This, remember, is a team that beat City 4-2-0 at Goodison last season. That says everything about what has happened on Guardiola's watch since then. After this game Guardiola would not talk too much about what could happen when City host United on April 7th. As he lands with his players for warm weather training in Abu Dhabi on Tuesday, however, he will be very aware of the opportunity awaiting him. On Tuesday night his players spoke for him anyway. They were not particularly at their exhilarating best throughout. We have seen them play better. But it was the way they played within themselves, while still managing to control just about every segment of the game that was impressive in its own way. Stoke need points in their own battle against gravity, but their manager Paul Lambert set his team out to contain in the early stages. Many other teams have tried this and failed. On this occasion, the pieces of Stoke's plan were fluttering in the Staffordshire breeze within 10 minutes. It was a lovely City goal too, even if it had an unusually poor touch from Gabriel Jesus at its conception. Receiving the ball with his back to goal 40 yards out, the Brazilian didn't control it as he would have liked. But that helped to make his mind up about what to do next, and his second touch was superb as he swiveled and played the ball inside the full back to the advancing Raheem Sterling in one movement. Once Sterling was away, Stoke were in trouble, and when the England forward looked to his left he could see David Silva arriving between defenders. His low cross needed to be pretty much perfect to pick the Spaniard out, but it was, and Silva buried the ball with his left foot past Jack Butland in the Stoke goal without breaking stride. So early in the game, things looked ominous for Stoke. Briefly Lambert's team did rally, and there seems to be some spirit remaining ahead of 8 games that will decide Stoke's destiny. Xherdan Shaqiri embarrassed young Alexander Zinchenko to set up Badou Diarra for a shot that was deflected wide, and then City defender Kyle Walker looped the ball back towards the top corner of his own goal as Stoke forward Gis ran onto a long clearance from Butland. So at halftime Stoke had hope and a foothold, only for City to take both from them in the 50th minute. Goalkeeper Butland may have been more decisive when trying to close down Silva for his second goal, but the interplay between Sterling, Fernandinho and Jesus that preceded that was still incisive. As Jesus lifted the ball across the penalty area towards Silva, Butland seemed caught in two minds. Had he stayed on his line he would have been hard to beat, but instead he chose to advance, and as a result it was a touch easier for Silva to nudge the ball past him. On the tower climb, Lambert swung his arms and exhorted his players to give him more effort. Already, though, it seemed a long way back for Stoke, and Fernand in host rode into a huge gap down the left just before the hour and shot into the side netting, when he could have scored the third. Sterling then bamboozled Kostas Stafylidis and Jeff Cameron to bring a save from Butland before Zinchenko stung the goalkeeper's hands from 30 yards. What had been a reasonably competitive game at halftime was threatening to become a walkover. Brun Martins Indy had a chance to interrupt the flow when the ball dropped to him after a free kick, but the Dutch defender hooked it over from 6 yards.